After that crapstorm that was Ninja Gaiden Sigma, I wanted to play a much better game. So here we are, with True Lies on the Sega Genesis. I've gotten this cart from a Video Games Monthly box a few months back, and have previously played the excellent SNES version. Does the Genesis model hold up just as well? Absolutely. True Lies is an action game in which you play as Arnold. And yes, it's based off the movie of the same name, of which I have never watched, so I cannot remark on how closely it follows the film. You were given screenshots and a quick blurb of what is going on, but honestly, these aren't enough to allow you to understand the plot if you haven't seen the movie, as I personally have no clue with who the main character Harry is going after or why. If I pieced it together correctly, the bad guy is Aziz, part of some terrorist organization that is trying to get their grubby paws on some nukes, and Harry must stop them. Sure, why not? The game plays as an overhead shooter, with Harry having movement in 8 directions, and shooting in those same 8 directions. Interestingly enough, the game uses a 6-button layout. You use the D-pad to move, duh. And A, B, C, and I think it was Z buttons can be configured in the options menu to shoot, lock the direction for aiming, switch weapons, and perform an evasive roll. Locking is an important mechanic to get down, as you can use it to strafe around cover and blast a few shots at enemies that are lurking around the corner. Sure, you could just go in guns blazing, as you do have a generous life meter, but it's still a quick way for you to get killed. That's because when you get shot, there are no invincibility frames. So if someone is using, say, a Gatling gun, if 5 bullets hit you, you're taking 5 blips of damage. Some enemies are also programmed to show a bit of intelligence. Sure, there are the normal grunts that just stand there and shoot at you, but some of them will actually hide behind objects and will only occasionally peek out and fire. Harry fires off center, due to the bullets coming from his gun on the right side, so you can actually use this to your advantage by hiding and firing bullets just barely out of cover, so that the enemy takes the hits and you don't. Speaking of firing, there are only a very small handful of weapons that you'll obtain. The starting pistol has infinite ammo, but will need to be reloaded every 15 rounds. You cannot manually reload the pistol, so if you only have a few shots left, it doesn't hurt to just dump them into a wall and go into the next battle fully stocked. The shotgun fires in your typical spread pattern, but to offset this, the pellets don't travel too far. The Uzi forces you to fire in a stationary stance, but you can use the D-pad to aim, allowing you to shoot at diagonals that you wouldn't normally face. This allows you to get some shots into enemies in situations that you would normally take damage. Finally, you have grenades and mines, which I had limited uses for. Grenades can be a bit odd to throw, since you have to hold down the fire button, and as the timer counts down from 9, you aim and launch it. Sometimes I felt like the grenade flew further than other times, even if I held down the button for the same amount of time, but it worked, especially on the park stage where I was throwing explosives over bushes. I will warn you that you do lose your weapons between stages, so feel free to use what you pick up, as hoarding items for later stages is useless. Now, you can't just fire with reckless regard. In some stages, there are civilians that are walking around, and yes, they can be killed in the crossfire. Personally, if I was walking in a mall and I heard gunshots, I wouldn't just stand there and keep shopping. I'd run like hell. But this is a video game, and civilians will just stand there and look dumbfounded, with only a few of them diving under their newspaper, because that'll help. You won't get penalized if an enemy shoots them down, but if you do, you are warned by your handler. I've never gotten punished for it, but I'm assuming you probably lose a life or get a game over if you go on a rampage against unarmed peeps. True Lies has a great difficulty curve. The first few stages are easy enough, but when you reach later levels, you'll run into more challenging thugs like grenade throwers, flame-wielding creeps, and rocket jockeys. Explosions deal a hefty amount of hurt to Harry and will eliminate chunks of his life bar, so they should be avoided at all costs. Even so, enemies will get more aggressive and actively hunt Harry. You need to be quick on the draw to kill the enemies before they do any lasting damage. And yes, there are health packs and extra lives to be found, and you'll need them. Thankfully, there is a password system. There is a small catch to this, though. The passwords save your lives. Ouch. So let's just say you get to level 5 like I did. You have no lives left. You get a game over in which a freaking nuke detonates. Double ouch. Pop in that continue, look at your lives, and 0. Either A, you're going to get really good at this stage very quickly, or B, you're going to start over and try to hoard extra lives like crazy and be more cautious than the earlier levels. Or C, you can pop in an infinite lives cheat and just live with the taunting that the villain of the game gives you upon death. And I'm serious, he actually says it's a good thing you're a cheat. Kind of funny actually. I got about halfway through the game before I had to stop. I wanted to get further, but the game glitched on me in the second part of stage 5. I was still able to complete this part, but then stage 6 was bugged too. I tried cleaning the game, but had no success. Looks like this was where I'm stopping. Kinda sucks too, because I was really enjoying myself. I guess the only thing left are the graphics and sound. The game looks really good visually. Enemies have a great amount of detail to them, and even better, everyone dies in a spectacular fashion. The normal thugs will drop in a puddle of their own blood, the flamethrower guys spontaneously combust, and explosions will fling enemies backwards. The stages do get a bit repetitive, but that's okay when the gameplay is solid. The sounds? Yeah, they're there. The guns behave like guns. There's a satisfying reloading sound when you pump in a new shell in the shotgun or a fresh clip into the pistol, and enemies scream upon death. I will say that the music is kind of average, with no tracks remaining in my head after I stopped playing. Although it glitched on me, True Lies was still a very enjoyable experience, and I had just as much fun playing it on the Genesis as I did playing the SNES version many years ago. The gameplay is solid, the levels are large, and the challenge level is just right. Slightly shorter stages with more variety would have been nice to have, and the music is meh, but overall, True Lies is a good time for those hunting for an overhead action game. For a title licensed from a movie, you could do much, much worse. Final score? 6 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.